So I wanted to share a quick design we did for a friend we met at another permaculture workshop, homesteading related workshop. Um, Basically, they had purchased this acreage and they wanted to include a shed for they were wanting to have rabbits and chickens together, and they picked a spot. It's adjacent to an existing shed, and after consulting, they looked at the whole site. They consulted with the awesomeness of Nicholas Ferguson, permaculture consultant, and they had picked. And it was great because he had lots of experience with rabbits too, and so it's just perfect synergy there. So the house is back down here. There's an existing shed. There's actually another one over here, and this is north. They had decided that gardens would be over here, that way. The shed would be in this location. Basically, there's an existing shed. They wanted to do a water tank here, harvest water there, and harvest water from this new shed they're doing, put it in that tank. And then they would have rabbit cages. I think they said 2 cages. Yep, 2 cages and a chicken coop. Basically, the concept is the cages would be mesh screen at the bottom. Poop would go down through the ground. No concrete pad. And the chickens would scratch it and eat at the rabbit poop, and cycle that nutrient over, and so reduce waste and increase the fertility that they could harvest. There'd also be a compost pit in there that they could move around in the chicken run. Basically, there'd be um, there'd be a lot of they'd be making a lot of good soil in that little chicken run with just the rabbits and the chickens. It's a very small footprint, but lots of nutrients coming off of it. So the plan was, let me sketch out a little bigger. This is a tank. What we decided was there'd be a covered portion. The chicken run would be just fencing. They wanted different options for fencing, and we did that. So basically, they could build it out nice. If they wanted to, they could just use T-posts as well. There'd be a net on top of this so that hawks can't get at their chickens. It's not predator proof, so they'd still have their chicken coop. And you'd have, they wanted 2 cages, 2 rabbit cages, and they also wanted, so the composting pit would be moving around in the run. So to say this is pit 1 location, pit 2 future, and on it goes. Also, there'd be a way for a truck to come back here, and they would load all that new made soil into that truck, pickup truck, or like a little cart wagon tractor pulled, and then haul that off to the garden. So that was one thing that's pretty cool. The chickens are in the same space. So chickens come out, they could kind of, you know, go under where the cages were. Cages would look like. So let's do. Would be elevated. The cage is being made by a local guy. We also met at this cool workshop. Doesn't look like a very healthy chicken. There you go. Chickens would walk around, make good use of all this space. It's ground, it's just dirt, and they'd mulch on it if they wanted to, but they specifically decided no concrete floor. That's what the best advice was. And the cages would be hung from the rafters, as how we had figured it out. And there's so say this is our client, it's good reach range for them. I think we did this at, I think it was 42 inches, so it's kind of a good bar height, kind of within your arm's reach when you're standing up and maintaining it. There's also, you can lower it for in the future, so that if they wanted to, it's easier, it's adjustable. These would have little stands down there, not floor mounted, but they would be post mounted, because you've got the posts that would hold up the shed would be over here, so that they're, when you raised and lowered the cages, they would sit on these little wood blocking pieces, and not and reduce the stress on the cage support and the pulley system, and it would make the cage last longer. So I think we'll talk more about how that pulley system works and how the cages work. I'd like to keep the videos short for these. So we'll see you again in the next video.